Hello everyone and welcome back to the Gavra Racing GT7 League round 4 of season 9 here at Lago Maggiore. I'm ex-Natty G, your commentator for today's race, and joining me in the commentary box is someone who, well, needs no introduction to a Gavra Racing commentary box. Used to commentate on the old F1 leagues, as well as being a many-time GT Constructors champion. It's Mr. Tiger Assassin. How are you doing?
Hello everyone. I'm doing great, mate. I'm happy to be making my commentary box return, but from a bit of a different perspective, which is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing this race unfold, and obviously, as people know, we were both involved in the race, but it'll be good to see it from different perspectives and see all the other battles that were going on as well.
And there you go, 2 drivers on the grid joining, well, now in the commentary box. So you guys watching will have a good insight into how this race unfolds. But before we get the race started, let's go through how qualifying went. And Cameron Kaboom put his Mercedes AMG on the front row of the grid in pole position with a 1 minute 54.3, a very quick lap time on those soft compound tyres. And joining him on the front row of the grid is my co-commentator's teammate, To Saint. He was 2/10 slower than Cameron Kaboom, so a really good lap from the Brit to put himself on pole. In third place is myself, so it's a commentary box second row of the grid with myself in third and Tiger just behind in fourth place. In fifth is our flying Finn, Atim Grin. He starts ahead of new teammates Bon Evil 99 after Wolfie's pulled out of the championship. Fortmans starts in 7th place, only 6/10 off of pole position, with the returning Ted on the grid tonight in 8th place. Struggled to get into the first 2 rounds, but he's back here at Lago Maggiore. Just behind him in 9th place is the debutant Nico Rosberg, the one-time F1 world champion, joins us for Porsche, beating out the reigning Weekend League champion. Ben Roberts starts in 10th place in his Vodafone McLaren, and at the back of the pack, Mr. Play Dutchy missed qualifying and has some overtaking to do if he is to finish inside the top 3.
Just want to say before we start the race that, like, this season, the grid has just been so tight, especially within the top 7 or 8 cars. It's been such a close grid, everybody within a second. Sometimes with even 7, 6, even 5/10 of a second between people, between the top 7 or 8 people. So really competitive grid this season, and Lago Maggiore is such a fantastic track. It's really fun to drive.
Indeed it is, and like you say, there were 6/10 separating the top 6, which often promotes for an entertaining race, especially when there is a world champion at the back. But if you're ready to start this race, then we will begin in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Here at Lago Maggiore, 5 red lights, 24 laps. And it's lights out, and away we go. For the first time in Italy, Cameron Kaboom gets a good start. Natty with an even better one, pulls up alongside and ahead of To Saint going in towards turn 1. Dutchy already inside the top 7 as he's got past fellow Dutchman Fortmans for 7th place. Tiger getting the jump on Bon Evil, Tim and Fortman side by side in the background. The Subaru getting ahead of the McLaren. Going down towards turn 3 and 4, and contact between the 2 silver McLarens. To Saints off the track between the 2 Brits once again. Tim moves up into 5th, Dutchy up into 6th, pulls up alongside the McLaren. Up in front though, Ben and Tiger side by side. The Tiger trying to hold it round the outside. Tim going through the open door on the inside. 2 McLarens. I think that's 2 Saint and Fortman side by side in the background as well. A good start from Cameron Kaboom. Leads the field away with Natty in 2nd place and Bonnie up into the top 3. What a crazy start already.
Oh, it's been an absolutely crazy start, and as you say, there's been battles going on all over the place. There was a bit of contact between me and my teammate. I did very much apologise straight after for that. Just a little bit too late on the brakes and the rear sliding all over the place. But Dutchy's going to go for a move now. He's going to try, possibly go down the inside of Tim into the hairpin. Just not close enough to go for that move yet, but yeah, as you say, Tim getting a little bit on the gravel there, but so close off the beginning once again. So many battles happening. And That's what Lago Maggiore does. It's such a good track for that.
It's a Gavra Racing Classic, and Dutchy's gained 6 positions, and we haven't even finished the first lap. 5.8 kilometres is the total track length for one racing lap, and we're going to do it 24 times. So prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen, for some exciting action here in Italy. Cameron Kaboom rounds the final corner in the lead of the race after starting on pole position, but he's got a chasing pack of a number of cars that will be hunting him down every step of the way. Dutchy went wild in this race. I see someone typing in the chat. Indeed, he did. He was second in lap 2. Don't spoil it. We're only on lap 2. Whoops.
Dutchy, what a fantastic start from him, though. We know he's a strong driver. I mean, when you know you've got Dutchy behind you, you're always constantly checking your mirrors, because he is going to get closer and closer to you, and you've got to be absolutely on your A game if you're going to try and keep Dutchy behind you, and if you're going to try and match his pace. So for me, sat here now, it's trying to keep behind, but Natty, you are going to go for a move up the inside of Ben, potentially. You're going to go wheel to wheel here into the chicane section, but Ben just pulls ahead. These chicanes, though, probably one of the fun parts of this track. You can just cut them so much. The game allowing you to do so, which is, it's weird because the game has kind of confined itself to more of the white lines on GT7, where that's the track limit. But this track's still the same as it used to be, where you can just cut so much of that chicane. As there's going to be all sorts here. Natty going to try and go down the inside of Ben here into the big bank hairpin. It's going to nearly go 3 abreast here, Natty. There's some battling going on in this race.
It really is 2 by 2, side by side, almost like Noah's Ark, up the hill in towards the 4th sector. Natty defending the inside, attacking his teammate perhaps in towards turn 14 and the right-hander of 15. Dutchy up into 3rd place. Apparently he finished this lap in 2nd place, so we'll have to wait and see what happens to Bon Evil, unless we've been lied to in the chat. But a great start from Dutchy. The Mercedes is good off the line, but like you said, if Dutchy's behind you, you've really got to be checking your rear view mirrors. Cameron starts lap 3 with a healthy lead over Bon Evil behind in 2nd place, but can he keep 2nd place by the time they get to turn 1, because Dutchy was looking for a move down the inside but couldn't quite find the way through. Natty's got a bit deep in towards the first corner. Will put him under pressure from the McLaren behind. Ben's off the track, and that's going to allow Dutchy to swoop right round the outside in towards turn 3. Can he make this one stick? We'll have the inside for turn 4. Tiger's going to try and follow him through. They're still going 2 by 2. The McLaren and the BMW side by side on the exit of the corner down the back straight.
That's
and what a beautiful track for overtaking.
Yeah, it is. It's so good. And Dutchy, what a move from him there. Like, around the outside. He stuck it on the outside. Is Ben going to go down the inside into this hairpin at the bottom of the circuit? But Dutchy just holding that around the outside, biding his time, and has just gone, right, I'm going to go up the inside through the next corner. It's classic play Dutchy, that is. And you can just see that the skill this man has behind the wheel. He's just going to go round the outside there. No, that's even more of a better move, because that corner is really difficult to overtake on. And it gets ahead of Ben here. It's Nutty, me and you are going to try and battle now. We've got Tim on our tail as well. And I think this is where things get a little bit spicy. Is Ben going to try and go to the inside here, into the big banked hairpin? As I'm going to absolutely launch it on the inside. Very late move there. Somehow it was clean, and Ben gets ahead of it all with me behind. And then it's Tim, then Natty, then Dutchy, and the positions Natty are just changing all over the place here. Everyone just going. Dutchy ended up in 2nd, and it's now gone all the way down to 6th because of that move into the hairpin.
Dutchy and Natty side by side into the downhill right-hander of turn 14. The two teammates battling it out on the circuit. Dutchy wins in that particular rivalry up into 5th place, but I don't think anyone starts a position or starts a lap and finishes that lap in the same position they started the last lap in. It is changed every single time round, apart from if your name's Cameron Kaboom, leading the field away down towards the first corner. Goes Tiger Assassin on the inside of Bon Evil, who have the inside for turn 2. Tim's on the inside of Dutchy. Once again, 2 by 2 going in towards the first sector. Natty's off the track as Toussaint goes through round the outside of him. Tim's found a way ahead of Dutchy somehow, but it's still Bon Evil in 2nd place as the Mercedes sends one down the inside of the Subaru. The Finn and the Dutchman going to go wheel to wheel on the exit, but Tim's been slowed down by the outside curb. But we'll have another opportunity in towards turn 5.
it's just this track, man. It just provides so much good racing, and this is an absolute classic here. As I'm trying to look down the inside of Ben there. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay behind Ben at the moment in second and third place. Cameron, though, for a commanding lead here. All of us battling, just allowing Cameron to pull out this mega gap at the front. And yeah, that's going to continue. It's probably going to continue pretty much throughout the entirety of this first stint, unless we all try and work together in some way to catch up to him. As Tiger now going to try and go to the inside of Boneville 99 into the hairpin, and he gets the move. Boneville might try the switch back on the exit, but I think just going to hold second position there at the moment, as he's still wheel through here. As we come through this corner, and there's a bit of contact, and I'll go into the grass. Is now Dutchy going to try and go down for a move down the inside as well, and there's a bit more contact here as Dutchy makes his way through, and it just shows that here is down. Tim's going to go down the inside of me, and then Zav's going to go down the inside of me as well. But if you get stuck in this battle and you get pushed out, and you're also going to make the move nearly make the move as well. If you get pushed out of a position here onto the grass, into a wall, or just out of line, I went from second to seventh in the space of that final sector. That's how tight it is between us here at the top.
Yeah, losing as many positions as going through corners. Meanwhile, up the front, Dutchy's got ahead of former teammate Boneville up into second place. Tim trying to follow him through on the inside for turn 3. This is now Bonnie losing a couple of positions and a couple of corners, but he's going to win them back on the inside at turn 4. Tim's going to hang it round the outside, runs wide a little bit off the track, tucks into the slipstream. It's a long run down towards turn 5, long enough to tuck in behind and send one down the inside, but no one looking for a move at the end of a lap, halfway through lap 5. And a healthy lead for Cameron Kaboom, over a second quicker than the cars behind, due to the battling and the overtaking that's going on in his rearview mirrors.
Yeah, Dutchy has pulled out a bit of a gap now from the pack. If he can just get himself out of that slipstream, he can start to put the attack on and go for Cameron ahead, because Cameron is a bit far down the road, but not necessarily out of reach, especially for a driver like Dutchy, who's got so much pace. As we're going to see a move again, as Toussaint going to try and go down the inside of Tim here. Is he going to go for a move? Is Tiger going to go down the inside of Natty? And it's still too wide between me and you, Natty. Is we're going to still go side by side through here. And again, it's just overtakes after overtakes. And I think we're still somehow side by side, but eventually we sort ourselves out. But it's just crazy, the amount of just battling and overtaking going on. And as I'm going to try and go down the inside of Natty here, Tiger and Natty going to battle in here in the final sector, but managed to get ahead there. And it's just craziness in this race so far. Probably one of the best Lago races we've seen, to be honest, at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a crazy start. We're only 6 laps into a 24-lap race, and we've had more position changes in this race than you can fill in the blanks. Tim's going for a move on the inside of turn 2 on your said teammate. Side by side on the exit of the corner, Toussaint dipped a wheel onto the grass. That will slow his performance down, but it's not going to hinder him in this overtake to the inside at turn 3, outside for turn 4. They're still going to go side by side, door to door, and it's opened the gap up to the top 3. Boneville's pulled out a little bit of an advantage to the Subaru behind. Toussaint is still on the inside of Tim. Tiger stuck behind, can't find any way through. Tim's gone off the track. Tiger slips through on the inside, and that's a through goes Hamilton moment. I think there was contact between the two as Toussaint lifts off to let Tim go back through. Natty promotes himself up into 5th place, Tiger up into 4th, and Boneville remains in 3rd place. But with the pack beginning to open as the battles begin to unfold.
I unfortunately don't want to spoil anything for the viewers, but being Stav's teammate, I know this isn't the last of the battling between Toussaint and Tim in this race. As there's probably going to be a few more squabbles towards the end, but I'm sure we'll find those as we go on in this race. But it's pretty crazy at the moment so far, and things seem to have just settled down a little bit now. Dutchy got a bit of a gap away from this pack now. He's gaining slightly on Cameron, and then Ben not closely far behind him, then Tiger, myself, and then Natty you just behind me, and then Toussaint followed very closely by Tim there, and then there's quite a sizable gap back to Mr. Nico Rosberg, the one-time world champion. But yeah, it seems things seem to have settled down a little bit now, coming towards the end of the first stint now. Would you say that is kind of the mediums might start to drop off a bit in pace now as the tyre wear goes up?
Yeah, tyre degradation is quite high at Lago Maggiore, although the tyre wear might not be as high, but the lap time performance drop is quite significant. So I think expect to see drivers pitting around the lap 11 to 14 off of the mediums to finish this race on the softs, unless anyone wants to opt for the rather useless hard compound tyre. We've got Fortman's, I think this is Fortman's in the chat, saying he didn't see anything because he was at the back. That's rather unfortunate that one of the drivers who missed out in the squabbles at the start, but him and Nico Rosberg, in fact, having a nice battle for 8th place, a couple of seconds between those two. And we've got Robert Codfather joining us in the chat. That's a blast to the past.
Robert Codfather! This is like a fanboy moment. How are you doing, my good sir? I hope everything is well. For as you know, some of you may know if you've been in Gavra racing for a while, me and Robert Codfather were former teammates in what league was this now?
Freshman
or the Premier? Has teammates we were back in the day, me and Mr. Robert Codfather. So nice to see you again, sir. Long time no see. Welcome to what is probably one of the best races of the season we've had so far. As Nadia, I seem to have picked up a 5/10 penalty somewhere on the track. I think I recollect it being through the S's, where I mentioned earlier on you can just cut so much of the corners. Cut too much though, find yourself picking up a penalty, so we'll have to serve that towards the end. And we'll give you a bit of a kind of an insight on how frustrated I was at that. I was actually gaining on Ben by a good sort of couple, like about 2 to 3 tenths a lap, as we'd all kind of spread out a bit. And got that 5/10 penalty and was quite frustrated because I was gaining on him and it was just hampering my progress. But in the end, as we'll find out if seems to be a problem or not towards the end of the race. But apart from that, we've still got Toussaint and Tim really close to each other. They're the only two people I'd say probably the closest on the track at the moment, fighting for a position. Yeah, the rest of the field has begun to spread out. Cameron Kaboom keeping his advantage he had from the start of the race, actually slowly but surely closing that advantage. And like you were saying, penalties in this game are rather frustrating because not only do you serve a 5/10 penalty, that penalty is also increased by the time you lose re-accelerating back up to the speed you once lost. So you slow down for half a second, but it ends up being an 1/8 tenth to a 1 second time penalty, as that penalty has now been served. Yeah, Gran Turismo can be very harsh on where they put their penalty gates. This is one of the tracks where, the penalty gate's in quite a harsh position. Other ones, I think Le Mans has quite a one in a difficult position. I'm trying to think where else has quite bad penalty gates. Tokyo Expressway, the next circuit we go to, actually has a horrible penalty gate because it is on that massive back straight. So if you get a penalty on that circuit, it is pretty much game over for your race if you're getting a penalty there. But as I say, there are some circuits where the penalty gates are placed in some really horrible positions where, as he's saying, that it will just lose you more than the allocated time that they actually give you for the penalty.
I think we had a vote last season where in the comments, I think Sardinia B was voted as the nicest penalty gate, where it's on the exit of the final corner. So everyone's going through that corner rather slowly anyway, so you don't lose too much time. Speaking of losing time, Natty's front tyres are not looking healthy compared to the likes of the two cars behind.
BMW really looks like it chews up its tyres. I think it looks like the Porsche as well. I mean, if you compare the tyres between the two McLarens of Tiger Sasson and Toussaint in the two BCMR McLarens, you can just see the tyre wear, but Bon Evil and you, Natty, just the tyre wear, there's a sizable difference in that. The Mercedes seem to have fairly decent tyre wear. However, Cameron seems to have a lot more tyre wear than Dutchy does. Even though, quite interestingly, Dutchy's been in a lot more battles than Cameron has. So I don't know if that's, again, Dutchy's kind of driver skill coming into play there and him saving his tyres, or whether that's something different. But I think we've got some battling going on.
Yes, and it involves your teammate going down the inside of me. Tim now pulling up alongside the BMW. The Subaru wheel-to-wheel, door-to-door through the uphill S's, turn 12 and 13. Natty squeezes in the middle and down into 6th place after losing the position to Toussaint. Behind them as well, Nico Rosberg is battling with Fortmans. The Porsche not looking good on its tyre wear either, being driven by the 2016 world champion. But Toussaint now trying to put on a charge to the top 4 after being involved in a couple of overtakes with Tim in now 7th place. And Fortmans has actually got in front of Nico Rosberg down towards the final sector. But up front, Natty and Toussaint going side by side. Thought about it, did the BMW driver, but didn't send it in the end.
Yes, just some excellent battling going on between these 3 there, and Fortmans and Nico Rosberg. Fortman's gone for a huge send on the inside of turn 1. That reminds me of season 1 around this track when I sent it on Holland Campion into turn 1. As these two battling away, we got ourselves a little battle at the back of the grid as Nico Rosberg goes ahead. But that was a move from Fortmans there, pulled out the old Tiger Assassin playbook into turn 1.
And I don't think it's the last time we'll see a move like that here tonight. Lap 10 of 24, the mediums are starting to wear, and the thought of pit stops are on the drivers' minds, as well as overtaking, going fast and not cutting the corners. But up front, Cameron Kaboom still with a healthy advantage. His tyre wear suggests otherwise. Perhaps he's been pushing so much in this first stint to pull away from the rest of the field, as Bonnie and Tiger now going side by side through the hairpin. Tiger's done well to claw back that gap to the top 3 spots after serving a half-second time penalty. The McLaren attacking the Porsche through the 4th sector, but isn't quite close enough or alongside to go for a send into turn 14. What about the right-hander of turn 15? Not on this occasion either, but the McLaren with better tyre wear, especially to the front 2 tyres, giving him extra grip and performance through those medium and high-speed corners.
Yeah, and at this point it was a frustrating time trying to get past Ben. He was defending quite a lot, and I was frustrated in a way because I wanted to get past him to try and catch up or at least keep up with Dutchy, but Ben clearly had some other ideas. I think his tyres were shot, so he wasn't planning on trying to do it. As he goes off onto the grass there, still manages to hold the position at the moment, but it's still going wheel to wheel here, but through the first few corners, still down the inside. I am now going to be on the outside as I'm going to go down the inside. It's a little bit of contact, but still pretty clean racing at the moment. So go down towards the hairpin at the bottom of the track, Nanny.
And still side by side, a move that started down at turn 1 in the background. Toussaint and Tim going side by side. Contact. Toussaint's facing the pit entrance for the old circuit. Natty's going to try and go through on the inside down in towards the S's section. Toussaint's going to try and hold it round the outside. Can he make this stick? The inside for the right-hander, the outside for the left. And a beautiful move from Toussaint after losing the rear and then being assisted by Tim, but somehow kept that McLaren going in a straight line. And up front, they can see the battles that's happening for the podium position, because Toussaint's teammate, my commentator tonight, Tiger Assassin, going to work his way round the outside down towards the banked hairpin. It's not often you see a move done like that if he can make it stick. Meanwhile, contact between Tim and Toussaint in the background. Natty has a half spin for sympathy. And, it's just exploded all at once again on lap 11.
It has, and I actually managed to get that move on Ben as I held it round the outside, and then just the next corner's a left-hander so I was back on the inside again, managed to get past him. But again, I told you, said that wouldn't be the last between Tim and Toussaint having contact, And there we saw it again, not once but twice. So them two get very feisty in this battle for what is currently 5th place, but it could turn into a battle for even 4th as Bonnie was going to come into the pits there and kind of faked it. Stays by Tiger at the moment. Is Tim, is he going to look for a move down the inside of Toussaint? He might try it into turn 1. He's going to go down the inside here, and Toussaint going to try and just hold it back on the inside. That is the good thing about this track, is it just allows for wheel-to-wheel, back and forth. Tim holds it on the outside. Toussaint, though, is he going to be able to make it stick? And no, has to just slot in behind. But just the beauty of this circuit, Natty, just the way turn 1 and 2 are, just the whole first sector, just allows for so much great racing. And the hairpin into the final sector just continues that great racing as well.
Yeah, and there are so many corners where it's a right-hander followed by a left or vice versa. So if you're on the inside or even on the outside, you then have the inside for the next corner to try and either keep the position or attempt an overtake. And in corners such as the hairpin, you have the option for a send on the inside, swoop it around the outside, or the good old switcheroo, go high, cut inside. We might see some of that in a couple of seconds because the train is running down towards that hairpin, led by ex-Natty G. He's got Tim and Toussaint right behind him. Is anyone going to go for a move? Not on this occasion. Natty going slightly wide has opened the door for Tim, runs a little bit wide onto the gravel, perhaps struggling for a front-end grip in that BMW, allows Tim to go through, and it's now Toussaint's chance to get past the BMW.
And we've done nearly 12 laps so far on this mediums, and as you say, those BMW tyres, those Porsche tyres, not looking so great here. So we could well see even Cameron's tyres really not looking good at the moment. So we could see some pit stops happening at the end of this lap, maybe into the next lap. Let's see who comes in first. Dutchy, Cameron stay out, Tiger stays out. Boneville 99, the first person into the pits, followed by Toussaint into the pits as well, and Natty and Tim stay out though at the moment on the mediums.
So the undercut has been triggered. For those of those who don't know what the undercut is, it's when you pit a lap earlier than the car in front to use the grip on the fresh tyres to try and gain an advantage and jump the drivers that stayed out whilst they are still out there on those slow, old, worn medium tyres. So it's hammer time for Bonnie and for Toussaint to try and get the gap down to the cars who they were behind. Fortmans and Ted also in and out of the pits onto the soft compound tyres. Nico Rosberg, however, has opted for the white striped hard in that Porsche and will do the, well, I'd imagine the final 10 laps on that tyre.
Yeah, interesting going for the hards. I don't really think the hards are the way to go in many of these races, unless there's a track with really high degradation. Apart from that, though, I think the soft and the medium are definitely the tyre choices here. And then we're going to have to see in that where these undercuts and overcuts sort of come into play, where people find themselves. Because if you remember, myself and Boneville 99 were very close to each other on the circuit. So could that undercut have moved him ahead of me? Dutchy and Cameron, will we see those come into the pits? Will we see Tim or Natty yourself? But does Cameron come in on this lap? No, Cameron gonna stay out. Dutchy also gonna stay out. I think I also stay. Yes, I do stay out. I couldn't remember whether I stayed out or not. Tim gonna come into the pits though, and yourself, Natty, gonna come into the pits as well. Natty, what was it like being on those very warm, soft tyres? I can't imagine it was a pleasant experience.
Yeah, I've had better experience on a set of medium tyres, but a track like Lago, it really does impact your performance. If you compare the lap times, 1 minute 58.5 to the fastest lap of the race, 55.6, that's nearly 3 seconds off the pace. The fuel goes in, the car's getting released. Where is Toussaint, who goes through on the outside down towards turn 1, side by side with Tim, and that is the perfect execution of a 2-car undercut. Toussaint now up into 5th place, was 7th before the pit stops. Natty and Tim though exiting the pit lane fairly close to each other, but Toussaint with the fresh rubber.
Toussaint with the fresh rubber, so he's going to be In Toussaint, though, remember, did he pit? Yes, he pit a lap earlier. Now he's going to try and go for a move down the inside here on Tim. Not quite, but yeah, Toussaint laps older soft tyres than Tim and Natty yourself there. So it could potentially have an effect on this battle towards the end of the race. Won't as much at the moment, but once you start getting into the end of the race, that's where we might see those one lap older tyres come into play. But the front three still not yet to pit, so they're going to have at least 2 to 3 lap fresher tyres than the 3 to 4 guys behind us. There's even more battling going on. Is Natty going to try and go down the inside through the hairpin? Tim going to hold it on the outside, and Toussaint has picked himself up a 1 second penalty from somewhere there. Was it through the chicanes, I'm guessing, Natty?
Yeah, I believe it was for the final left-hander, I think, or maybe the right-hander before it. So yeah, for Toussaint, 1 lap fresher tyres, but a 1 second time penalty. The top 3 into the pits, refueling and changing tyres. Dutchy's been released at the same time as Cameron Kaboom. This could be close between the 2 Mercedes drivers, and Dutchy comes out in the lead of the race as Cameron Kaboom's picked up a 5/10 penalty for cutting the corner somewhere. Bolivar's come out of the pits ahead of Tiger Assassin, so the top 3 remain the same. I think, I can't remember actually where the top 3 were, except Dutchy has got ahead of Cameron Kaboom, a crucial overtake in the pit stop.
I think Dutchy got past Cameron in the pits, and Ben, that undercut, he actually jumped me by a sizable margin. But remember, I do have at least 2 to 3 lap fresher tyres than him, and we also saw that Porsche really, for some reason, it used to have quite good tyre wear. Like, it was overall, the Porsche used to be, a really sort of like level playing field in terms of a car. Like, everything was kind of, average in a sense, and it was just a really comfortable car to drive. But not even Night Night really seeming to just have some tyre wear problems in this race with it. So that might bring me back into it towards the end of this race. Toussaint going to serve his 1 second penalty though, Natty, so we're going to see some more battling again into the hairpin.
Maybe not on this lap, but it does mean a rapid Toussaint has some overtaking to do if he's to get himself back up into 5th place after serving that 1 second time penalty. Heartbreak for Cameron Kaboom as he's lost the lead of the race in the pit stops and then had to serve a 5/10 penalty, but still has the current championship leader, your new race leader, in his sights, and will be trying his best to repeat that lap that put him on pole position on these fresh soft compound of tyres. Like you were saying, Bolivar with the undercut gets the jump on yourself, but having picked up a 5/10 penalty, progress on pursuing 3rd place is going to slightly be hindered in half a lap's time.
We'll say it was in the same spot again.
Yeah, we'll just ignore the time penalties.
Yeah, well, it was in the same spot through those chicanes again, but you've got to, through the chicanes, you've got to be so, like, it's fine margins through there. If you want to find lots of time on this circuit, fine margins through those chicanes, and the rest of the circuit as well in terms of those track limits. But I think we're going to start seeing some quite tasty battling between Tim, Toussaint and yourself here, Natty, so I'll let you carry on this one for a bit.
Tasty is one word, spicy is another. Fortman's in the chat saying he was checking the radar because the clouds are a bit scary. Fortunately, apparently it doesn't rain in Italy, so that is not a factor that will impact the end of this race, although Lago in the wet would be quite something.
Oh, beautiful it would
I
be.
wouldn't want to be the one
Absolutely
caught out on the inside of the banked corner. That could be quite damp.
You would. I just feel like the banked corner, you'd lose your rear on many occasions. But I'm about to serve my penalty, and I think we're going to see some, as you say, spicy overtakes here.
Here comes the 2 Premier Series champions attacking I think it's Super League champion. I think Tim's won it. If he's not won it as a driver, he's won it as a constructor.
He's won the Super League before, I think.
Maybe even both. So we've got 3 F1 champions pursuing an attack on a GT Constructors champion in the form of Tiger Assassin, who's also trying to hunt down last season's reigning champion. So this could be a very entertaining end to the race. Tim currently in 5th place, setting his personal best on the last lap, but Bon Evil with the fastest lap, and if he can keep it by lap 24, we'll be picking up 1 extra point. And, well, that's been taken away by the rapid Cameron Kaboom, pursuing Play Duchy for the lead of the race.
Yeah, and I was quite frustrated here as I crossed the line, because I was actually only, well, not that lap, so I think it's the next lap. I only ended up like 2 tenths off Cameron in his fastest lap, and I was frustrated I didn't get that fastest lap. But, because all the points count in this championship, you can see how close it is between everyone, that all the points are going to be necessary in the championship. And in terms of constructors and drivers, like there's just been so many. We've had 3 different winners. And the first 3 races we had 3 different winners, and it's going to be a very spicy championship.
Indeed,
using the word spicy a lot, but yes, it's going to be very hot.
Yeah, spicy is a word that is often used, especially when it comes to GT7. Ben in the chat saying that controller is worse than the wheel for tyre wear, so that's one of the reasons why mine is often so bad, but I think there are other factors that play an account for that. This could get quite interesting with the slow Subaru leading a train down the back straight in towards a right-hand hairpin, goes defensive to the inside. Natty's going to pull over to the left-hand side of the circuit and try and swoop it right round the outside, cut inside for the undercut. So that Toussaint loses the rear halfway through the corner and Lee wipes out the back of the BMW. Both drivers still facing the right direction, but Natty's trying to set Tim up on a plate like fish in a sushi restaurant. And they are side by side down the hill in towards the right-hander of turn 14. So they're still going to go side by side. Natty using a lot of the inside curb. But door to door between the German and the Japanese manufacturers, the Brits and the Finn. They're 3 wide going in towards the final corner. Tim in the middle, Natty on the outside, Toussaint on the inside. Natty's ran wide and off the track, and through goes Toussaint on the inside. Gains 2 positions in 1 corner, and that is a beautiful move to end lap 17. And I don't think the action's going to stop right there, because we've got a heavy braking zone down and towards turn 1, but no one's close enough to go for a move.
I've said it so many times in this stream, and I'm going to say it again. This track is just beautiful. I think this is. I'd have to say. I mean, personally, for me, obviously, a lot of people know Mount Panorama is my favourite circuit. But if I'm going off circuits which just provide just everything, qualifying, race, overtakes, action, just everything, Lago Maggiore, it's got to be one of the best tracks out there, and it's made up. It was made up by Polyphony. When they created Gran Turismo Sport, they came up with this circuit. It's the best made up track on the game, and it's probably one of the best circuits on the entire game. Would you say, Natty? Like, it's such a good track.
It is definitely up there in the rankings.
Don't look at me.
As Tiger picks up a 5/10 penalty
in the same spot again
through the S's on his pursuit for a podium. But in the pursuit for 5th place, Natty, so Tim sends one down the inside of Toussaint, and contact between the 2 cars once again. Toussaint's off in the gravel, going to build some sandcastles with the assist by Tim. And I think that is the 4th time they've made contact in today's race. And it's lap 18 of 24 with many opportunities left to go. But a brilliant battle that's ended rather doom and gloom, just like the weather, as the clouds begin to surround the circuit. Natty round the outside of Tim through the penultimate corner as the Finnish driver lifts off to slow down and wait for the Season 6 champion.
Again, another bit of contact between Toussaint and Tim in this race, and I think it's a bit of a heated battle on the track here, as these two showing their anger and their frustrations, taking it out on each other, as Tim does rightfully give back the position to Toussaint, and they are still being sportsmanlike, but getting the elbows out, as we would say, Natty. This race is just non-stop with action, and it's just So great to see us back in the Group 3s, back round Lago Maggiore, just having an absolute blast.
And we've missed this with the drama for 5th place, but Cameron's taken the lead of the race off Play Duchy, although slows down to serve a 10th penalty through the penalty gate in the run down towards the hairpin, opens the door beautifully for Play Duchy to slip one down the inside and retakes the lead of the race. Here on lap 19, Cameron Kaboomno's got a beautiful exit off the hairpin, and we'll have another go at it round the outside and towards the S's section. And if that was a door that was always going to be closing on the inside, down and towards the pit lane entrance for Lago Maggiore West End, and a new circuit for this game, like as if this track needed any more configurations. But Play Duchy, in his beautiful orange and black Mercedes, regains the lead of the race off Cameron Kaboom and has better tyre wear to go with it.
Yeah, as the battle for the lead still happening. Duchy not being able to pull away as much as we probably would have thought he'd done, as Cameron sticking with him, as just trying to see what else is going on. Tim and Toussaint once again just so close to each other, as I'm starting to gain a bit of a gap on Bon Evil now. As you can see the difference, Natty, in the tyre wear between us two. So much more tyre wear I have than Bon Evil ahead. As might see a move here, as Tim might try and go down the inside of Toussaint into turn 1. He does get the move done, he gets it done cleanly and manages to stay ahead. As Toussaint going to try and go for the old switch for Rue, and he's going to try and stick it on the outside now, but Tim going to keep the position there and stay in 6th place, but non-stop battling between those two. And yeah, it's a battle for 6th place at the moment. Say, I thought Toussaint was going to go for a move there, but he doesn't. But yeah, starting to rule that gap in on Bon Evil ahead. And as I mentioned before about getting so close to Cameron's fastest lap, I was 2 tenths off of his fastest lap. So, you know, fine margins. As I said, that is like between everyone. It's just so close. Just
fine margins, and Tim's off the track and he's hit your teammate. Sorry to interrupt, but that's Toussaint off in the wall, nearly collects Tim once again. But another time that the two have collided this season, well, not even this season, but this race. Tim lifts off the throttle going down the hill, crawling towards turn 13. Made a mistake, went wide through the second left-hander of the S's, which forced him onto the inside, the grass on the inside of turn 10. And Sebastian Vettel knows what it's like when you try to turn or rejoin the track from the grass. Your steering's limited. T-boned the side of the McLaren, which sent Toussaint off into the wall. And, well, I don't know what's after rubbing salt in the wound. Maybe getting slapped in the face with a fish, but that's how Toussaint's race can be described. It's not been the best at 20 laps for him.
It just feels so sorry for Toussaint, not even because he's my teammate. Like, take that bias out of it. That, if that was anyone, that's so unfortunate to be collected in that kind of way as someone's obviously made a mistake and rejoined the track. It's so unfortunate to be in that position, and unfortunately he gets himself into a wall. Luckily, there's only light damage, so damage repairs over time. And he's able to get himself underway. I think Tim going slowly here, trying to just let Toussaint catch up and be a bit sportsman-like. But yeah, that gap massively opened up now between those guys, as I seem to have gained quite a bit of time on Bon Evil 99 here, Natty. So I think that might be our next course of action in this race.
Indeed you have. As one battle finishes, another one begins. I was nearly going to make a reference to the war, but we won't go through that. Tigress going for a move that will see him finish on the podium, not this time round, or perhaps he might be able to make this stick on the inside, but not quite. I forgot to say welcome Money Game and Cameron joining us in the chat. You're about to see a thrilling battle for the final spot on the podium. If it's not for 5th, it's for 3rd. Tiger looking to find an open pathway on the inside at turn 14, but not on this lap. Bonnie struggling for grip. Look at those front tyres, close to getting a puncture. Fortunately, no terminal damage such as a puncture, but certainly a massive decrease in performance and lap time, ending lap 21 to start 22. Fortman's in the chat saying he's having a battle with Ted at the minute, so we'll cut to that. Once as Tiger Assassin can try and pull off a move in towards turn one, Bonneville very defensive in towards the first corner, goes a little bit deep. Tiger setting himself up for a move on the outside of turn two. Can he get the drive and the traction on the exit of the corner? Not on this lap. And we'll have to settle for 4th place for now.
As, yeah, Fortman's gaining on Ted now, so I think we have to see those those two come into a battle. But Nat, you seem to have picked yourself up a 5-10 penalty there, mate.
We don't need to watch that.
Say about that one. As am I going to try and go for a move down the inside here? Not quite. Bonneville doing very well here to stay defensive, keep me behind. This is the battle for the last place on the podium here. Any form of a corner, going to try and go for a move. I'm absolutely all over the back of him through the S's, and this might be the opportunity to go for the overtake down into the big banked hairpin.
Riding on board with the silver and green McLaren. It's a beautiful overtaking opportunity, is this hairpin. You can see the closing speed gaining and gaining all the time. Late on the brakes, swoops round the outside, will have the drive, the traction, the speed on the exits, have it going towards the double right-hander up the hill for the 22nd time of this race. And it is everything that has gone on in this race has all boiled down to this: a battle for 3rd place between two former champions in one way or another. Bonneville defending the inside with very worn front tyres, not a lot of grip to give from that Martini Porsche. What can the BCR McLaren do in attack? Rounding the final corner for the penultimate time of this race. I see 2 arrows very close on the minimap, so we'll keep an eye on that. I believe it's Toussaint and Tim once again battling out on circuit for 6th place. But going in towards turn one, can Tiger send one? Not on this occasion. Bide his time, although there's not much of it left.
No, not much left here. Is got to try and look for that move on Bonneville 99. It's going to be difficult. He's defending into every single corner, and that's what you've got to do when you're trying to keep your last place on the podium. It's fair racing, and it all comes down to these last couple of laps. But I think we might see that a move here on Tim on Toussaint, but not quite. But these two, once again, can just not stay away from each other in this race. They're almost like magnets. They just will not pull apart. And yeah, once again, them two just battling away. As I've actually gone for the move on Ben and got the move done into the bottom hairpin. So I think Ben actually on the exit got a bit of a slide. I managed to just make my way through and get ahead of the Porsche driver. But we're going to have to go back again now to Toussaint and Tim, who are battling away still.
Before we go back, I'd like to mention, I think this might be the 4th time I've said this tonight, a 5/10 penalty for Tiger Assassin through the S's section. Is that going to play another twist in the tail in this battle for 3rd place? But meanwhile, Toussaint and Tim, the two T's, battling for 6th place. And like you said, they've been together all day long, all afternoon. What will separate them apart from a couple of bumps and scrapes? Tim going wide makes it. I think that was a little bit of contact. Not sure if it was lag, or if he hit the back of the McLaren. Dutchy and Cameron Kaboom start the final lap of the race as Toussaint makes his way up the hill in 6th. Can he stay ahead of Tim on the final lap? And can yourself pull out a 5/10 gap to Bonneville behind, who's really struggling for a front tyre grip? A puncture to the front left. Not much on the rear left either. But he sees the car ahead has a penalty to serve.
Yeah, it's these two still so close to each other, battling away. And as he said, I've got to try and find the gap away from Bonneville 99 to be able to serve that penalty and keep the position. So we'll keep an eye on that as the Dutchy pull that sizable gap in the lead to Cameron. What a race from him, though, that he came from the back of the grid. And because everyone was battling so much on turn one, he managed to get past the slower drivers at the back of the grid quite easily and then make his way forward into the battles and just picked his way through very simply, pulled out a gap from the battling, and then has ended up pulling out the gap to Cameron. Cameron, though, is still having a superb race himself. And yeah, those two being absolutely brilliant today. The Merc really showing its class on this circuit. As during testing, the 2020 Merc, the newer Merc, didn't look necessarily like the greatest car to be in, but it seems to have picked up a bit of its pace and really showing what it's kind of worth now.
Certainly has found its groove. Cameron was saying it was terrifying watching Dutchy pick his way through the field as the pole sitter had an early lead in this race. But like you said, Play Dutchy's just overtaken cars as if they're in a different class. He rounds the final corner for the final time tonight from the back of the grid. He's finished on the podium in every single race this season and wins here in Lago Maggiore. Tim and Toussaint are still going side by side.
Tim and Toussaint still battling. Tim, just watching that there as he was seeing Dutchy across the line. Tim went for the old switchback in the hairpin and manages to get ahead of Toussaint on the last laps of the drama. But between these two still continue. Cameron comes across the line in second. I come across the line in third place. Bonneville comes across the line in fourth. But these two still battling away, Natty, to the final corner.
And they put on a great display for us. Your penalty was enough to keep you in third, Ed Bonnie in fourth, myself in fifth, Tim in sixth, and Toussaint cruise across the line in seventh place. And though he didn't run out of fuel, I think it's a display of how he felt about the outcomes of that race. Finishes in seventh place. Ted finishes in eighth. Robert Codfather gives Dutchy the appreciations for and the congratulations for another race win. Only his second of the season, which is rather crazy to say, but is the only driver to finish on the podium in every race so far. And we'll go through the grid rather quickly before we get our post-race thoughts. Fortman's finishes in ninth place. Unfortunately, Nico Rosberg didn't finish this race, so finishes in 10th. Fortman's in ninth, Ted in 8th, Toussaint in 7th, Tim in 6th, myself in 5th, Bonnie in 4th. But your top three, Tiger sneaking onto the podium in 3rd, Cameron Kaboom in 2nd from pole position, and from the back of the pack, it's Play Dutchy.
Yeah, just what a crazy race! Like a crazy race to be a part of, to watch. It's just, again, I don't want to sound like I'm repeating myself, but Lago Maggiore always just finds a way to bring us something superb as we go around this circuit, and I think it's a popular amongst drivers and fans alike. And yeah, great to see us racing around here once again and putting on an absolute crazy display. And yeah, it was just quite a bonkers race. Probably the best race of the season so far, I would say, Natty.
I would certainly agree. In terms of overtaking, drama, it had the lot. Undercuts, spins, crashes, dive bombs, everything you want in a race. And well, for those who remember, to put it, just to say it as it was quite boring in Season 7. Dutchy led from the front, won by about 20 seconds, and not much really happened. But it was back to prove why it deserves a place on the calendar.
Whew! What a race! It's just like, just bonkers, really. And congrats to Dutchy for putting on a fabulous display once again. Great pace from Cameron, and just everyone, just absolutely brilliant once again around Lago.
And there you have it. Play Dutchy wins round number 4 here at Lago Maggiore with Cameron in second and Tiger your top three. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I've been X-Natty. I hope you guys have had a great time. I see a comment from Godfather saying great watching you all race. A podium for Tiger, his old partner. So it's great to see Robert Godfather joining us, back to see his former teammate finishing on the podium. Goodbye, Fortmans, and we'll see you all next week in Tokyo, where if you thought this one was crazy, Tokyo is a whole another level of spice.
Tokyo's another ball game. But Robert Godfather, great to see you again, mate, and thank you for having me in the commentary box on this one, Matty.
No worries. It's a pleasure. Hey, we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.